So it is Thanksgiving and I am currently alone. I've been on campus for the last 8 or 9 weeks and I am about to lose my mind. I've been lucky enough to have a car on campus, which means I've been able to leave campus probably around once a week. But while I've been able to leave campus, the one thing I haven't been able to leave is people. Almost every single time I go off campus, I'm with friends. And when I'm back on campus, I'm always surrounded by people. And so instead of spending the money to fly back home to see family and friends, I decided to spend Thanksgiving alone. I didn't choose this because I'm some heartless jerk who doesn't want to see his friends or family, but my relationship with people has always been really complicated. I have a love-hate relationship with people. I love people, but I hate not being alone. In this video, we're going to talk about my multifaceted experience with other humans, the good, the bad, and the anxious, and how being alone serves as an antidote to a lot of these problems. However, the goal of life shouldn't be to live in solitude. So I will also explore how we can balance these two diametrically opposed ends of life, the messiness and warmth of human relationships and the refreshing air of solitude. As Sartre famously put it, hell is other people. Despite the fact that many people think I'm extroverted, I can never fully relax around other people. Whenever I'm around people, some part of my mind is always thinking about the other person. How is the other person feeling? Are they having a good time? What do they think about me? Would they rather be somewhere else? My mind is always running. And honestly, I don't think that this is necessarily a bad thing. I think being hyper-cognizant of the other people that I'm with pushes me to be a better friend. I'm always asking my friends if they're having a good time or if there's something I can do to make them feel better. But this is also the source of some of my greatest anxieties. Since my brain is always on, I tend to overthink things. Sometimes I read the smallest hints or silences as, oh, maybe this person doesn't want to be friends with me anymore, or maybe they're bored and would rather hang out with funnier friends. This constant awareness of other people always leads me to micromanage how I present myself. Whenever I am talking to another person, I am being Alex. I'm being genuine and I'm saying all of my real thoughts. But I'm always aware of how I'm presenting myself, whether I'm trying to be funny or empathetic or cool and nonchalant. And the biggest paradox of this is that the closer I get with my friends, the more anxious I feel about whether I'm going to be able to live up to the standards that they have of me in their head. For example, if one of my friends thinks that I'm really funny and we hang out one day and I just don't crack any good jokes, are they going to stop thinking that I'm funny? That terrifies me. Like, I know my friends see something in me. Obviously, I see something in them too. That's why we're friends. And part of me is just always terrified that I can't live up to that standard. On a logical level, I understand that all of these fears are irrational and unfounded. I have complete faith in the friendships that really matter to me. However, I can't stop my mind from peeking into these dark corners. Being hurt or anxious in relationships sometimes doesn't feel like some weird aberration, but rather a necessary byproduct of being close to people. The very thing that makes relationships so special, the vulnerability and connection, is the very thing that opens us up to pain and anxiety. Arthur Schopenhauer analogized the problem of human relationships in what he calls the hedgehog's dilemma. Imagine that it's really cold outside and a group of hedgehogs all try to move closer to one another in order to feel warm. The closer that the hedgehogs get to each other, the more likely their quills are to poke and hurt one another. It's inevitable, and the hedgehogs have to decide how much pain they're willing to endure for the warmth. We seek warmth and intimacy from each other, but we can't help but be hurt in the process. And while I do think that this view on relationships is overly pessimistic, it's one I can understand the roots of. And outside of just close relationships, just being around people and like living in a society can make it really hard for you to know what you really want because your head is filled with so much noise. I've said this in a past YouTube video, but the barrier between what is in your mind and the outside world is very blurry and permeable. It's like the cell membrane. Whenever I am with people, the things that they care about and value naturally start to matter more to me. It's like osmosis. And this happens without you knowing it. For example, if you just spend a lot of time around a lot of people who go raving, you're going to think about raving and want to go raving way more. And now with social media, these influences are everywhere around us. We are constantly being pushed and pulled in ways that we don't know and don't understand. It's so difficult to stay true to yourself because sometimes you can't even tell what it is you really want. These two different reasons are pretty much why I wanted to spend Thanksgiving alone. I am exhausted from the effort it takes to constantly be around people. And I've just been around people so much that it feels like I've lost touch with the parts of myself that matter the most. The inner voice that I'm so used to being clear and decisive has grown faint and fuzzy. I'm trying to refine that and to give myself a break from it all. But luckily, the answer is sitting in the back of my car. Or rather, it is my car. So I'm back to living in the mommy missile for Thanksgiving. All of these problems disappear when I'm alone. When I'm alone, I just am. I don't think about how I'm presenting or acting, I just exist. I'm able to cut through all the noise and really ask myself, what is it that I really want out of life? My favorite moments from the last couple of weeks have been when I come home from a closing shift at Salt and Straw. It'll be close to 1 a.m. and I'll come back and park my car, roll down the windows, recline the seat, and just soak in the silence. There's no one else around, the air is crisp and fresh, and it's so still. Spending time alone has given me so much of what I really like about my life and myself. All of the introspection and ways I've come to view the world are byproducts of time that I've spent alone. And these are genuinely my favorite parts about myself, and I appreciate them most and am most aware of them whenever I'm alone. When I'm alone, life is honestly just so easy. I'm relatively productive when I'm living on my own, and I work hard towards my goals. Life goes on at a pace that I enjoy, and I get to control that, and I get to do whatever I want. And this is why I'm so in love with van life. I love the ability to just pack up my life and escape into a world where I can be alone, find myself, and decompress. So now the only thing left to do is to go. But obviously, you can't spend the rest of your life alone, nor should you really want to. While opening up yourself to relationships definitely introduces the possibility of hurt and anxiety, it also introduces you to experiences that you cannot have without other people. When I'm with other people, my priorities change. I care less about peace, serenity, and fulfillment, but I find myself surrounded by love, warmth, and connection. I laugh so much more, and it's so much fun. When you're with others, the energy is always way higher, and it's easier to get lost in the flow of the moment. It's like going to a concert and feeling like you're getting lost in the energy of the crowd. It's not an experience that you can have alone. And maybe it's not as relaxing or decompressing as sitting in my room and playing video games by myself, but there are few experiences that I cherish more in my life than sitting around with a couple of friends and just cracking jokes and having a great time. So there's this constant tension in my life between the fact that the happiest moments of my life, the moments of pure excitement and euphoria, are always with other people, but the most peaceful, serene, and quiet moments of my life are always alone. And each side has its own drawbacks. So how do I balance these two options? And honestly, I haven't really managed to find a good solution to this. It feels like I am constantly slingshotting between two extremes. I will work really hard for a couple of weeks doing all my schoolwork, keeping on top of my creative endeavors, going to the gym, and then I will look up and I won't feel as connected to the people I really care about. And then I'll start spending a lot of time with my friends and hanging out and just having a really good time, but then I'll start to feel existentially angsty because my inner voice is not as loud and clear as I like it to be. The question of how you can maintain your own individual identity while embedding yourself in social communities is not one I'm going to be able to definitively answer, but I do think it's important to recognize that each extreme holds a lot of value and that we do need to grapple with this question. But let's face it, relationships are hard, but also, of course, they're hard. Relationships are two fundamentally different people coming together and deciding, for no reason other than the fact that they care about each other, that they want to be a part of each other's lives. And of course, that's not easy. You need to consider a whole new subset of desires, values, and idiosyncrasies, and I can barely handle myself sometimes. But God, it is so worth it. Sharing your life with the people you love and hoping that you can help them in a fraction of the way that they've helped you is the best thing in the world, and it is the only thing that has gotten me this far. And this is why I wanted to make this video on Thanksgiving, because one of the fundamental premises of this video is a lie. Because while I spend a lot of time alone, I have never once in my life been alone. Everything I've done has been because of the support and love of my friends and family. Even when I was living alone out of my car this summer, I crashed at friends' places. I was living out of my mom's car. This is why before I left for Santa Barbara, I sat down and I wrote messages to some of the people in my life who have been so influential and have supported me so much. To all of the people who have ever been there to support me or send me a kind message, you will never know how much you've truly impacted my life. Thank you. I will spend the rest of my life trying to show these people how much their love and support truly meant to me. And I want to show them that the faith that they had in me to do something worthwhile with my life was not misplaced. And that's why I owe it to them to be the best person I can be. And sometimes that means giving myself the space and time to listen to my own thoughts, to figure out what I really want and what I think is best. So wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I wish you a happy Thanksgiving. You can't really see it right now, but it is absolutely gorgeous up here. I'm in the mountains. You can see the ocean right there, and then the city is right below it, and the sun is setting right behind me. There's a little sneak peek, but it is so pretty here.